When one pictures hard-hitting American infantry weapons of the Second World War, they picture the famous M1 Garand, or, for closer engagements, the Thompson submachine gun. Although these would become household names, there were several other firearms that played crucial roles in the beginning of the war. In this video, we'll be discussing the M50 Reising and its variants, its history, manufacturing, and most importantly, why it never saw widespread adoption. Its designer was Eugene Reising, who had been an assistant to firearm designer John M. Browning. His main attribution with Browning was the .45 Colt M1911 pistol. During the interwar period, he maintained designing commercial handguns and rifles. However, as war loomed in Europe, Reising decided to focus on designing a submachine gun. So, introduced in 1940, his submachine gun was innovative for its time. In turn, it would be picked up by Harrington and Richardson, where they would begin to produce it as the M50 Reising, and coined their slogan, 6 1/2 pounds of controlled dynamite, the H&R Reising will get a bullet there when you need it. Entering service in 1941, but it was unlike most submachine guns of the era. The M50 Reising fired from a closed bolt, was chambered in .45 ACP, and weighed in at 6.8 pounds. Its effective range was 100 yards, with its sights being a front blade and a rear notch. It had either a 12 or 20 round detachable box magazine and was capable of firing 550 rounds per minute. The M50 would also see a shortened version for paratroopers, referred to as the M55. This model would collapse down with a folding wire stock, dropping its weight down to 6.2 pounds as well as the slightly larger M60 designed to take 30 carbine. It also competed against the M1 carbine in trials. And lastly, from 1944 to 1946, the M65 trainers were being produced. These were in .22 LR for training purposes only. By the end of the war, over 100,000 of all kinds of Reising variants would see production, with many being sent to our allies as part of Lend-Leases such as the Soviets to battle the Axis. Now, onto the advantages of the M50 Reising against the Thompson submachine gun of its class. One of the greater improvements was that it was lighter than the Thompson. It was cheaper to produce, as it cost around $50 during wartime production when compared to the Thompson's $200 price tag. Due to its unique firing system at the time, it was more accurate when compared to an open bolt system like the Thompson. Some models were also select fire, which for obvious reasons gave the user better control depending on the situation that they were in. Initially being issued to Marines storming the beaches of Guadalcanal in 1942, as well as with some Marine raiders on islands to the north. In addition, Marine paratrooper regiments were issued the M55. However, very quickly after these were given out to numerous Marines, the Reising quickly saw rapid deployment and field usage, and issues became rapidly abundant. So, what went wrong? Well, the Reising in principle was a great option for any branch, as it fulfilled all the requirements better than available weapons of the same category. However, this weapon was not at all made with the dirty and miserable conditions of the field in mind. Another issue is that the factory 20-round magazines were infamous for being delicate, and would often result in jams and misfeeds if not properly taken care of. In addition to that, factory magazines were also considered to be quite small when compared to the Thompson's 30-round magazines. It was also extremely complex in design and parts. As a result, it was not easy to field strip in a sandy or muddy environment. Thus, it would result in further issues when one tried to maintain it in the field. It was also a very precisely constructed firearm. Many parts were filed to fit at the factory, so in the field they couldn't be interchanged and yield any productive results. This is the results of H&R being relatively new to mass-producing firearms in 1941, so they maintained the commercial ways of hand-fitting each model. With the M55, the wire stock was often found to be flimsy, and it would even collapse while being shouldered. After the war, H&R would sell off remaining stocks to civilians, police departments, and correctional facilities across America due to the Reising's overall low cost. As well as when maintained properly and not in the field, it was quite favorable. And with all that said about the Reising's rapid claim to fame and rapid decline from fame, that's going to end another video. If you have any feedback or questions or anything I got wrong, please leave it down below. As always, I appreciate all the support recently, all the subscribers and likes, it really does mean a lot. And with that said, I hope you have a good one, Happy New Year, and I'll catch you on the next one.